Hello everyone, welcome to the first chapter of Huawei HCIP Open Elder course. This section, we will continue to introduce the common service management of Open Elder. We have learned some basic configuration of Apache, including main page configuration, module loading and unloading, persistent connection configuration, and static resources configuration. Next, we will look at the configuration of virtual hosting and HTTPS.
The Apache HTTP service also supports virtual host. Multiple web services can run on the same server. Each web server corresponds to an independent static or dynamic resources. Users can access different resources by using different domain names, port numbers, or IP addresses. Core responds to three implemented modes of virtual host: domain name, port number, and IP address. Now let's try configure virtual host with different domain name. Access the page of test1 through www.test1.com, access the page of test2, and access the page of test3 through www.test3.com. All the three domain names are resolved to the public IP address of the HTTPD server. Test1, test2, and 3 are stored in home source test1, home source test2, and home source test3 respectively. The page content is hello test1, hello test2, and hello test3. So first step, we prepare the resources. Create three directories. So we switch to home source directory. We create three directories, test1, 2, and 3, and three configuration files in home source. So we run make directory test curly brackets 1, 2, 3 command to create three directories at a time. And now we have test1, 2, 3, three directories. And under these three directories, we need the test1, 2, 3 files. Configure the hello test content. So we can use echo hello test1 and send to the test1 directory test1 file. Okay, the same test2 to test2 path and test2 file. And also hello test3 sent to test3 and test3 files. We can use tree to view the current creation result. Okay, from test1 and test2 and test3 we have created. Okay, and step 2 is create the vhost configuration file. And it's also we vim etc httpd conf.d, then we create a vhost.conf file. Enter the context. We will edit virtual host, the same IP and port number and server name test1. And the document root is home source test1. And the default page is test1. And also the second, the same IP, the same port number, but the domain name we change to test2. Default page is test2. And test3, the same configuration. We save and exit. But because there is no DNS server in the environment, therefore we need to manually configure domain name resolution and add the mapping between the IP address and domain name to etc hosts. Verification mode. Local verification is used. So here we set the private IP address of the server is our private IP. For me, it's 2.81 and then type the domain name. It's the same IP and the same port number, but different domain name. Okay, now we run wq command to save the configuration. Currently, the local static parsing resources are ready and vhost.conf configuration file is ready. And then we reload the HTTPD service again. And then we run a curl command to check the result. We curl the domain name test1. But it has some error page because we have changed the port to 81. So we change the port number to 81. It's hello test1. But if we change it to test2.com, it turns back the default page. If we use test3, it's hello test3. So the first and third virtual hosts are correctly displayed, while test2 is not the same with the others. This is because the alias of test2 is configured in the source.conf file. In the vhost.conf file, the resolution address is set to home source test2. But test2 is an alias in the source.conf file. Let's see here, source.conf, and we can check home source test2 is the alias of home source test. And we have also set up the htaccess file to limit this IP address for home source test. So therefore, we need to modify the source.conf file, comment out the alias test2 configuration. We save the configuration and also reload the configuration of HTTPD. Let's try curl test2. The information is normal. So this is the 3 different domain names are displayed. So up to now, all HTTP access uses the HTTP protocol. So next, we try to configure the HTTPS service. We can set the access mode 3w.test1.com to HTTPS. So first, HTTPS depends on the SSL module. Therefore, we need to install mode SSL first by running the command yum install -y mode SSL command. Okay, after the installation is complete, the CA certificate is required for HTTPS. To create the private key, we need to run the make directory command CA with cd to CA directory. We run the open SSL command and generate RSA dash out ca.key. Private key, we need 2048-bit. Use this private key to generate the CA form signature certificate. So we use OpenSSL required new key, generate ca.crt. Country is CN China, province Zhejiang, and city Hangzhou, and skip the organization step and press enter. And skip unit name, press enter. Then we set common name to test1.com. Also, we skip the email address. We have generated the private keys of ca.crt form signature and the ca.key private key. Then we use the private key and CA certificate to generate a request file. Open SSL 3w.test1.com.key and also country CN, province Zhejiang, and city Hangzhou. Set common name to 3w.test1.com and press enter. Skip the others just by default. We will have 3w.test1.com.csr and 3w.test1.com.key. The request file and request private key are output. Next, we issue the certificate to the server based on the request. Also, open SSL. We use ca.crt, ca.key, 3w.test1. Signature OK indicates that the certificate is issued successfully. Related certificates are stored in home source CA directory. Then we configure the SSL. After the system is installed, the SSL configuration file is stored in the extended configuration directory and added by using the vim etc httpd conf.d and ssl.conf. And we already have this page. After entering this, we can see that the default listening port is 44.3. We use column set number. Let's find the certificate file path line. Okay, here we can see the default port number is 44.3. Okay, here you can see the lines 101 and 109 is SSL certificate configuration path. So we change the path to the storage path, home source ca 3w.test1.com.crt and find the private key file path and change it to 3w.test1.key. After the certificate and private key file are configured, we can save the configuration and exit. So here we change the configuration. For private key also, test1.key. Okay, after configuration, we save and quit. Next, test the HTTPS access. Before the test, add a domain name resolution record on our local computer to resolve www.test1.com to the public IP address of this HTTPD server. So we open the host file in our local computer, and the path is disk C and Windows System 33 drivers and etc directory. Here we have the host file. We added the parsed record, the public IP address mapped to www.test1.com, and then we save the file. The public IP address of the HTTP server have been configured. Okay, we turn to the browser to test HTTPS access. www.test1.com and port number 81. Since the network cannot provide the successful connection, so maybe we forgot something. Let's reload the HTTP service, because after we change the SSL configuration, we need reload. And when we reload, it gives us an error message. System status configuration have something wrong. And let's check. It's because SSL.conf has something wrong. Test1.crt does not exist. That is because our file name is test1.com.crt. So we turn back to the httpd conf.d and ssl.conf file, and then we turn to 101 lines, and here we modified it to test1.com.crt. And also for the private key is also test1.com.key. We save and exit and also reload the HTTPD service. Then we're back to the browser's page. It's still run, cannot provide us the connection, so we can restart the service. And then, after that, www.test1.com give a message displayed indicating that your connection is not private. We click Advanced. And then we continue. It gave us the Hello Open Euler, which is the first index.html. So why? Because the default HTTPS port is 44.3. However, port 44.3 is not configured on a virtual host. So therefore, the context in the home source home directory is returned. If we set the port 44.3 in the virtual host vhost.conf configuration file, hello test1 will be returned. Okay, these are some of the installation and configuration operations of Apache service.
In this section, Virtual hosts are configured to access different page content through different domain names and access the Apache service through HTTPS. That's all for the introduction of Apache. In the next section, we will look at another popular web service, Nginx. Thank you for watching.